Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks for joining us. My name is Dallas Jones. I am Vice President at Ecosense. And today we have the privilege of speaking with Fran West, better known as Fran the Radon Man, out of New Jersey. And Fran has been very successful in using EcoGuard as a value add to his mitigation business. Fran, take a minute and just kind of introduce yourself as to what you do and how long you've been doing it, and we'll pick it up from there. We're going to be a little informal tonight and just talk about whatever Fran wants to talk about. How's that?
Sports now. Yeah, so I have a degree in civil engineering, a BS degree in civil engineering. Worked for an engineering company in highway design and got into environmental work. Then in 1999, started a home inspection business. With that, started doing radon testing in 2002. Started doing mitigations in 2004. New Jersey has its own licensing requirements, so I got licensed for both of those. In 2020, I believe we became a licensed lab, or maybe it was 2019. There was a lab that went out of business, so we became a licensed lab for CRMs only. New Jersey has specific regulations for CRM use. So we've done that. Gave up my home inspection license around 2012, something like that, because the radon industry just exploded. And we've been running with that. I'm up to, including myself, 8 employees right now. Two of them are part-time, but so we have 8 of us, and doing testing and mitigation, and the lab services as well.
Well, I know you've been doing this for what, 20 years? You've been involved in
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So, because I've known you for, I think, most all of that time, and so what I kind of want to share with everybody who has attended this afternoon, as well as those who will watch this on the replay, is just sort of how you managed to make EcoGuard such a success. But before we get into that, I want to show a few slides, and this is sort of my take on how EcoGuard would work, perhaps how you would tell your clients what the EcoGuard service looks like, and how it is to their benefit. So the way we actually have a draft or a brochure template that you could use to give your clients that we recently came out with, and so this is some of the language that came from that customer brochure, and in essence, after your radon mitigation system is installed, then your EcoGuard service professional, that would be somebody like you, would install the EcoGuard continuous radon monitor in compliance with the ANCR's post-mitigation testing requirements, and connect it to your Wi-Fi. So you're gonna put this in a fixed location, and we have labels that are now coming with these that will explain that it's a component of a radon mitigation system. You can certainly create your own and personalize them with your own company information. And then once it's been, the system's been running for at least 24 hours, as you all know with the protocol, then EcoGuard will generate a 48-hour post-mitigation clearance test report. So as the professional operating the dashboard, you can go in and create that report. You will have the ability to put in all the metadata when you set up the devices, well as from your dashboard, to create a report that is compliant with the ANCR standards and the state of New Jersey, and really all of the states. Ecosense is an approved lab within our PP. We are an approved measurement business in New Jersey. We are licensed as a measurement professional in Illinois, and a measurement lab, excuse me, an analytical lab with the New York Environmental Laboratory Accreditation Program. We just submitted everything for Iowa and Florida, so we'll soon be an approved lab there. And then you have the ability to set it up where on the first day, or first week, that should say first week of every month, Ecosense will send out to your client a radon measurement review, summary review of the performance of the system for that month. That happens automatically if you'd like to set it up that way. It'll come with the trend chart and so forth. And then you can also decide that as part of your service and monitoring agreement that that you could combine with your warranty, that you would come out at least every 2 years, if not every year, and do an inspection of the system. And then, since the standards all require that you recommend another radon test every 2 years, then you could replace the EcoGuard with a new one or a recently calibrated one. For those of you who don't know, we are opening a calibration chamber here in the US, and we have just submitted all the application and documentation into the NRPP just recently, and we expect to get approval on that sometime by the end of the month or early October, and then we will be in a position where we can provide calibrations and here locally in the US. So that's pretty much how we saw the system working. But what I want to do now is ask Fran, when you first looked at EcoGuard, what really motivated you to give this a whirl and start bringing it to your clients?
Basically, it's kind of put your money where your mouth is, right? We're all radon professionals. We all want to reduce radon as low as possible. But my thinking was, how do my clients know that radon is reduced on a continuing basis? They really don't. We were sending out letters, and emails every couple of years, contacting clients. Very rarely we would get a call back, because we would suggest doing, a test every 2 years and all that stuff. So very rarely were we called back. There's the occasional customer that would say, "Oh yeah, please come and take a look at the system," or if the fan stopped working, they have to look at their YouTube, we'd have to go back to their house. But very few of my clients were testing for radon. So at the last symposium down in Nashville, I got talking to you, and decided, I started polling my customers. I was, with my proposals that I would send out. I put a little blurb in there. Hey, we're thinking of using this EcoGuard, and it's continuing monitoring and all that stuff. And I didn't really get a good response. And my thought was, the younger people, because I'm an older guy, right? The younger people are going to be all over this thing because they're concerned about radon and they're into the tech, right? So they want to know what their radon level is. And it was a woman who was my age. It was one of my clients. I polled her and she said, "Why are you even asking me? Why don't you just build this into the proposal and put it in?" So that's what we started doing. So, but because what had happened, 2022, the regulations in New Jersey changed. And we had to start putting in the audible alarms. My problem with the audible alarms, we put 300 of these things in 2023. As of last week, I was back to 88 houses so far with false alarms, dead batteries, all that kind of stuff. So, that's just too many callbacks for this, these stinking audible alarms. And we've tried all the different models and they all do the same thing. So, we started using the EcoGuard instead of the audible alarm. We started building it into our price. Now, there is a cost difference, right? You have the cost difference of your audible alarm, but you subtract that cost out of the EcoGuard, it doesn't really increase. I mean, it does increase your proposal cost, your cost for your radon system, but not. It's not like it's adding $300-400 to it. It's it's doable for me. And every one of my clients, when I talk to them, I tell them we're going to put this monitor in your house for at least the first year, and then we offer an extended warranty program after the first year, and that extended warranty covers replacement of this EcoGuard every 2 years, and it also covers our labor costs for coming out if there's a fan failure. So we just started building it. We just started doing it, and so far people love it. I get comments back all the time because the customer can see the radon levels, and the one problem is if we don't get our radon down, now I'm constantly getting calls from the customer. Hey, when are you coming back? When are you coming back? We don't have 24-hour service, but we have to schedule something in, and we do get back to those customers, and do additional work.
Yeah, well, you mentioned to me that the calls that you do get are an opportunity, as opposed to a nuisance.
Yeah,
Tell me about that.
yeah, exactly. Because it keeps us in front of the customer. That once we get our clearance report, I go in now. Now my guarantee, and this is just because I chose to do this. We all have to guarantee levels to below 4.0 picocurie per liter. I chose to adopt the World Health Organization level of 2.7. So that's a selling point when I'm talking to the customer. Yeah, we're gonna guarantee levels, long-term levels to below 2.7 using the EcoGuard. Even if somebody has an Air Things or they might have an Eco Cube or something already, I said, well, that's great, but it's got to be the EcoGuard because it's the only way that I can get a 48-hour clearance report. Legally, I guess if you want to say that. So we do include that.
Yeah, so that saves you from having to go back and pick up another instrument for your clearance.
Oh, exactly. Unless, my crew goes out, when they do an install, because we do all of our own follow-up testing. I don't give a canister to the client and let them, start the test and then get the results afterwards. I just chose, when I started doing this 20 years ago, hey, I have the continuous radon monitors. I'm going to use them for my post-mitigation tests. We've just always done that anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
the alarm or the alert rather is something that I didn't really bring up when I gave the little intro here. The dashboard lets you choose a 24 or a 48-hour period, and what that does is if let's say you choose 24 or 48, either one, let's say 48. Then if you choose to share the app with your client, then instead of them seeing the current hour reading at the top of the app, like here on the left, which is our regular homeowner EcoCube app, it will display the 48-hour average at the top in the big number, where they're not actively looking at that 1 hour number, which really is, as we know, when it comes to the long-term exposure and the warranty doesn't mean anything. It's meaningful to help you figure out what's going on, but it isn't meaningful for them to be watching and judging the effectiveness of the system, obviously. So they can still see the trend charts and scroll down to the bottom and so forth, but it gives them the opportunity to to see it on the app, as well as know that you're looking after it. Now, I do know that we have customers, mitigation customers out there, who choose not to share the app, and that's fine. They're a little nervous about getting calls, And I think you do share the app, right? Right, Fran?
Yeah, we always have, and even with our CRM data, with our other testers, I've always given the data to the client because I'm always, I'm on the impression, hey, they're paying me to do a test. If I give them one piece of paper that has one result, you know, to me, I feel like I'm not doing a full service. I want to give them the hourly readings. Now, some people automatically become radon experts when they see those readings and say, well, hey, why did this go up to 4.8, but yet the average is less than one? So you always get those and you have to field those questions, but that's fine.
Well, I imagine once you talk to them and they can see the data while you're looking at the data, because you can see it on your dashboard, then
Sure.
it's pretty easy to explain, and then they understand from then on, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And what I do with the dashboard when we first activate them, because I've come back to the dashboard and activate the unit, even though it's turned on, it's already in the house and connected to the Wi-Fi. So we activate it. I leave it on the 24-hour setting. Um, and then, I also enter other information, the client phone number and all that kind of stuff. We add that in on the dashboard. So we have the record of that. Um, and then after I do my clearance report, um, I I set it to 48-hour averaging, and then I also set it to send the client the monthly report from EcoGuard or Ecosense. I mean, that they'll get the monthly report and all that. So I change all those parameters after we do our follow-up testing and make sure that our radon's down in that house.
And I don't know if I have that. Oh, I didn't do that. Let me get back to um, here. I've got some other stuff I'll share with you, but um, there's a section on the dashboard. I meant to take a screenshot of that where you can select the threshold that you
Yeah.
want. So
Yes.
you can choose 4.0, or if you want to use 2.7 like Fran, you can do that. And then if you've got it set for the 48-hour period, then what it means is you as the professional will get an alert, which you can choose either a push notification or an email or both. You can get both. Just on the dashboard, you choose which ones. And then if the 48-hour average meets or exceeds whatever that threshold is, then you get a push notification. So it's not, gonna just bother you if it hits 4 for an hour or two. It's got to be for that period. So that way you can then contact your client and ask maybe the question: is your fan on? Because
Yeah.
we're seeing the radon go up and stay there for 2 days.
And
So then you
and
can
it,
tell
it
us.
works. Like I said, I've only been using, the eco guards. We have I believe 157 or 58 out right now since January. Um, we had one client, over, overly concerned as he should be about radon. His son works out, the workout room is in the basement, radon's high, I think it was around 10 or something like that. They had a builder, passive radon system installed with the house. So we activated that, um, and got the radon down, installed the EcoGuard. And then after a couple of weeks, we had great results. And all of a sudden, I get the email, radon's up in this house. So I call him and I tell him that the radon's up, and he says it is. I was kind of taken back because this guy was so concerned about reducing radon because his son's working out. And they also had an air things hanging on the wall too. Um, they didn't notice that radon went up, but I did. And I called him, and it was an electrical problem with the circuit wiring that the builder installed. There was a loose outlet or something, loose connection in the master bedroom, that circuit that went up into the attic. I had to have my electrician go back and figure out what was going on, and he found a loose connection, reconnected it, started working again. So it works, and it works great.
Well, yeah, that's something I want to show right here. On this one, you can see that here's a graph from one of the EcoGuard units, and we were doing some experiments kind of to see just how quickly it would respond, and you can see that the radon concentrations on this mitigated home where the average was less than 2 picocuries per liter. And then, right here on the 4th of September, we shut the fan off just to see what would happen. And you can see the radon concentrations quickly rose above 4. Now, this was in September in the Atlanta area. And I know the client didn't have their windows particularly closed all of the time. Weather was, I think there was a little cool air period in the evening sometimes, and so they'd open their windows. This was a year ago, and then you can see there was this period where it rose up to 48 hours. Rose up to 4.2 for a 48-hour period, which would certainly trigger an alarm. And then we turned the fan back on, and you can see how quickly it fell back down again. And then it remained again below 2 until over here we tried one more time. We shut the fan off, and it quickly rose back up again. So we know that the systems are a good alert because the radon concentrations are tracked so well with the sensor. The sensor has a very high efficiency capability, so we're able to track in real time the radon concentrations. I'll give you another example. This was a house where the orange is graph is an EcoGuard, and you can see that we shut the fan off and how quickly it rose. At the same time, in the same location, we had an AirThings wave, which isn't a true CRM. It's actually an electronic integrating device, which means it's, rather than giving you individual hourly readings, it just updates the 24-hour average every hour. So because of that averaging, it took quite a long time for it to even reach 4 picocuries per liter. It was about 27 hours after the EcoGuard hit 4 and saw as it, tracked it, and then it continued to rise. And you never do see quite the peaks and valleys because it's averaging in 24 hours at a reading. And then we turned the fan back on, and you can see how quickly the EcoGuard unit tracked the radon concentration as it fell. But it took some time afterwards before the AirThings unit was able to see that decrease again because of the averaging. A couple other things I'll quickly share. You've got a QR code that every mitigator that has or client that is professional that has the dashboard. It's unique to you, and you could put that on a label and for service, scan this QR code. And the QR code will actually open a support request form, and the support request form will come to you. And once you get that support request form, then you can actually, you can actually then send them an applet. Let's say if the support had to do with their Wi-Fi getting changed, and that could be, let's say you install it, and while the seller's there, and then the seller moves out, so now you lost the Wi-Fi. The buyer comes in, and you need to get the buyer set up. Rather than you have to go back to the house, you can just send them this applet, depending on whether they have an Apple or an Android phone, and they can reconnect the device remotely, without you having to go there, without actually getting into your dashboard. So they're not going to see all your business, but they can put it back online for you. Are you using that now, Fran? I know for a little while
Yeah, we've had a couple instances where it's worked. A couple of them we did have to go back. And like we did a system today, and it was brand new home, still the owner's the builder basically. So there's no Wi-Fi in the house. So we had to do our regular CRM test. And then, and the beauty of that is, okay, I'm dealing with the builder in this deal. So he's paying the bill and all that. I have no idea who the end customer is. When I send my follow-up letter, I'm going to say, hey, send me the customer's, the buyer's name, because I got to get out there and set this EcoGuard up for them once they get their Wi-Fi. So, and that's how we kind of handle that. We do our own, use our regular CRM for a post-mitigation test, and then we'll go back after the sale and install the EcoGuard.
Yeah, I talked to a client, a mitigator a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned, wow, I don't know how easy it's going to be to get the buyer's information. And then I talk to mitigators every day, and they tell me they ask for it. And
yeah.
You generally get it if you
just
ask
for it.
say, I've got to have it.
Yeah, you talk to the right realtor and you get it.
I've
and
got
usually
to have
they'll,
that information.
and they may include the buyer in on the in the proposal end anyway. And a lot of times I'll get calls from the buyer. Hey, I'm buying this house, and then I tell them what I do and what my guarantee is and all that kind of stuff. And then they tell the seller, we want to use this guy. So now they may get a couple estimates, and then that the client that I'm dealing with, the buyer that I'm dealing with, may have to pay a difference in the cost, because I'm not, I tell people I'm not the cheapest guy in the area, and I know I'm not, and I'm not going to be. I don't compete with prices. I don't adjust my prices to price match anybody. So I know what I do. We do it well, and we charge for it.
Well, I mean, you've got close to 160 of these units out, and you didn't really get started until toward the end of January, and that says a lot for the fact that you're successful in explaining it to people, and people are having a good reaction.
And we're doing them. We're doing some now. Even I'm doing them pre-mitigation. So there's a lot of construction going on in my area. I'm in southern New Jersey. There's one particular town that's in what's called a tier 1. New Jersey has a 3-tier system. So there's known radon in this town. And I tell people, my company is on their Facebook page. I don't have access to that, but they're all the residents there, all the people we're talking about. And what I tell them is, look, we kind of think that there may be radon in your area, but there's no guarantee, because I say in your development, I've detected radon anywhere from 2 picocurie per liter up to 65 picocurie per liter in the same development, a couple hundred houses. And what we do is we offer the installation of the EcoGuard. So we come in, they pay us a testing fee basically to set it up. Radon's high. We write our proposal for that activation of that system, because it does have a passive system installed. But we kind of credit a little bit back because the EcoGuard's already there. And people love that because they see the radon high, just like your graph. That radon's high, we put the fan on and radon just drops right down. They love that. So,
yeah, that's
a
great selling point, and it really puts a visual on what they're paying for.
Right.
Whereas, with a time integrating device, you get a number and you don't really get to see just how dramatically, it fell after you turn that fan on, and how rapidly. Well, that's interesting. So you're picking up extra business before they mitigate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That's great. Let's see. I had I'm gonna in this, and then I'm gonna take some questions. So right now, to give you an idea on the pricing, if you're ordering, small quantities, you can order from the dashboard. So for any listeners, if you go to the EcoGuard page on our website, like you wanted to read about EcoGuard, there's a button there that says EcoGuard dashboard. and you can click on that. And if you don't already have a dashboard, you can set up an account. Now, obviously, you won't have any devices, on your dashboard, but there's a menu button within the dashboard that says order, and you can order units there for 129 each. And the reason that these devices are not found on our regular store pages is because they're for professionals. They're professional devices, and we don't sell them to the public. And then if you would like a bulk order, then we can give you a bulk order of 20. Actually, I'll tell you there, if you buy 20, then they come down to 122. And so you'll save $100. And then if you were to order 50, then they come down to 115. We do have a monthly data service charge. So you'll need to work that cost into, what you're charging for your service monitoring warranty agreement. But that's only if the unit is activated. So if you have them on your truck and you haven't installed them yet, then you're not paying any service charges. If you take one offline, then you'll not pay charges until you put it back on again. So if you have interest there, please let me know. I think if you try one out and kind of see how they work, then you can start to see how Fran, what Fran saw is the potential, and he's living proof that this is a good business opportunity for you. So what I want to do is stop sharing for just a second and see if we have any questions from anybody. So if you do have a question, would you raise your hand, or anyone have a question they want to ask of Fran? Quiet bunch tonight. Okay, so if you don't want to ask the question now and you decide, or you haven't thought of it and want to ask later, then please got some all clears. Please send me an email at djones at ecosense.io, and I'll be glad to answer it and get back with you. Fran will be at the ARST symposium in Orlando, right, Fran?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep,
So if any of you are coming to the symposium, then you can talk to Fran more about how he's doing things. If you have other questions, I'll be glad to pass them on to Fran as well. He's the I think the largest user we have with that many units out. We have another customer in Tennessee who is just behind you. He's probably got about 130 or 40 out, and then we have a lot of customers who are working their way up as they get more customers, and not everybody's requiring it, kind of making it part of their package. But I think that was the best decision you ever made.
It was just, we just worked it in, and we said, yeah, if you want us to do the system, you get one of these.
Yeah.
Now I do have one client. He said, no, I don't want it. I'll just, I'll do my own testing or whatever. I mean, we did a CRM post-mitigation test, but he did not want it. I don't know why. I don't know if he thought I was going to be recording something in his house, or there was a camera in it or something. I don't know.
Well, you always have the freedom to make exceptions,
right.
So that it's not like you're going to walk away from the business if they say, "Well, I love you and I'll take it, but you need to knock that off."
Right.
But
and that was
make it a general part of your proposal.
Yeah, I was kind of taken back by the guy too, because he's a cancer survivor. So it's like, why wouldn't you want one of these?
Wow. Wow. Well, you never know. You never know. All right. Well, I got another question. Fran, do you charge monthly your clients, or do they pay for the year? How do they do that?
So I have, I mean, I use a Excel spreadsheet for my proposals, length of pipe, elbows, and all that stuff. Price for the EcoGuard, and the monthly monitoring fee for 1 year.
So they pay
Now
for
my
the year.
Yeah, so they pay for the basically upfront for the year.
Yeah.
Now, what I'll do starting off next year, next January, when I start sending emails out for the extended warranty program. Right now, I'm priced out at $150 for the extended warranty, and that would cover the cost for the following year if they so choose to do that. Now, if they don't want the extended warranty, their EcoGuard's getting deactivated, and I'm going to want to go back to that house and pick it up because I want to turn it back in, or I'm not sure what Ecosense is doing yet with any of that stuff, or
Yeah,
get
we
them
will give you a
recalibrated.
credit for it. We're working some of that out right now, but as we get our calibration chamber running this next month, then and we start to get EcoGuard units in, then we'll have recalibrated units that we can move also, and hopefully keep that price down. You know, you can get a new one, or you can get one that's recalibrated and
Right.
make it affordable even more. Yeah. Okay. All right. Then, Fran, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to join me and
You're welcome.
all of us. If you're watching this on the replay, again, you know how to get us. D Jones at ecosense.io. And if you have a particular question for Fran, put it in the email to me. I'll pass it on. We'll be glad to talk to you and help you any way we can. So with that, I'll say good evening and see you next time.
All right. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Fran.